My infinite cultivation. State Feiyan. Yunzi Mountains. At the foothill of the mountains, Xu Ning woke up. Countless unfamiliar memories flooded into his brain. Xu Ning sniffled and felt a horrible headache. After a long time, the unfamiliar memories were digested by Xu Ning's brain, and the pain subsided. I transmigrated. Xu Ning had to accept this bizarre reality. He traveled to a Budo world and became a village boy. This village boy's name was also Xu Ning. Before this, he went up the mountains to gather medicine. He took a huge risk when trying to pick up a spirit medicine plant, but it was too difficult to grab, so he slipped and was fatally injured. After his consciousness dissipated, he was replaced by the current Xu Ning. This was not a peaceful era. Sect disputes, state capital battles, family rivalries, bandits lording over streets, and monster animals causing chaos. In this era, human lives were as valuable as dirt. And now, he became an ordinary person, who had to work hard to survive in this era. This is unbelievable. Xu Ning felt pain in several places on his body, but fortunately, his movements were not impaired. He slowly got up and saw the spirit medicine plant that was picked up by his predecessor, a few meters ahead of him. This jasper medicine plant was called jasper grass. It was precious, and the market price for it was more than 500 taels. For ordinary farmers, this was an enormous sum of wealth. Jasper grass. Xu Ning hesitated before walking to the jasper grass and bending over to pick it up. This jasper grass was a dark green-colored plant that had a slight fragrance to it. By smelling it alone, Xu Ning could feel the pain in his body alleviating. When Xu Ning was about to take a closer look at it, a white gleam of light flashed in front of his eyes. A light display appeared in his field of vision. Discovered energy, 6 units. Absorb. Yes or no? Name, Xu Ning.
Martial art, Gal Knif technique, Beguiné, plus.
Available energy, 0 units. What? Xu Ning couldn't believe it. Isn't this the martial arts panel from my previous game? Why did it appear here? Xu Ning rubbed his eyes vigorously. But the panel was still there. It wasn't an illusion.
Q Ning realize.
Is this the golden finger of a transmigrator? Xu Ning took a deep breath and tried his best to calm his mood. If this martial arts panel works in this era, then I may be able to get far ahead of others. Yes. Xu Ning chose to absorb the energy. Absorbing energy. Absorption complete. Name, Xu Ning.
Martial art, Gal Knif technique, Beguiné, plus.
Available energy, 6 units. The panel refreshed, and the available energy changed from 0 units to 6 units. The jasper grass in Xu Ning's hand faded in color and withered away, turning yellow in the process. The energy in the jasper grass was absorbed. After acquiring 6 new units of energy, Xu Ning focused his attention on the plus sign besides the gale knife technique. Consume 3 energy units to improve the gale knife technique? Yes or no? Yes. Xu Ning was certain. Xu Ning learned the gale knife technique from a previous master, and he had practiced it for almost 3 years, but because of his limited talent, he was stuck at the beginner realm, unable to improve further. But now, he had the chance to improve his gale knife technique. Sure enough, in the next moment, the panel refreshed again. Name, Xu Ning. Martial art, gale knife technique, elementary, plus. Available energy, 3 units. His gale knife technique realm had changed from beginner to elementary, and the available energy had decreased to 3 units. The moment after the panel was refreshed, Xu Ning's understanding of the gale knife technique became more profound. He felt that he was familiar with the methods of the gale knife technique, as if he had practiced it day after day for several years. It was like he knew it like the back of his hand. Xu Ning raised his hand and made a gesture. Although he didn't have a knife in his hand, he felt that he had been wielding a knife for a long time. His heart became intrigued. Xu Ning picked up the hatchet he used to climb the mountains and defend himself. He realized that the pain of his injuries had subsided, and using the new knowledge in his mind, he began to perform the gale knife technique. The knife whistled in the air. After the performance, Xu Ning took a deep breath, his eyes filled with excitement. This martial arts panel is like a bug. Although the gale knife technique is an ordinary skill, it increases my knife technique. From my understanding of ordinary martial artists, practicing one external skill should take 2 to 3 years, but I only took 1 second. Xu Ning began to look forward to this martial arts world. With the martial arts panel, he had the ability to become a master. Xu Ning calmed his mind, and he once again focused his brain on the plus sign besides the gale knife technique. He wanted to improve again. Consume 6 units of energy to level up the gale knife technique? Yes or no? 6 units of energy.
Q Ning vince.
It took 3 energy units to level up his gale knife technique from beginner to elementary realm, and from elementary to intermediate realm, the energy requirement had doubled. He only had 3 units of energy remaining, which was insufficient.
No.
Xu Ning was saddened, but not overly disappointed. As long as he had the martial arts panel, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future to find spirit medicine plants or other energy sources to improve his martial arts. It's time to go home. Xu Ning glanced at the sky. The sun had begun to show signs of setting. He squatted down and picked up the herbal medicine plants that had dropped out of the basket on his back. These herbal medicine plants were normal herbs he had previously picked. They were ordinary quality and were not precious. Xu Ning tried to pinch the common herbal medicine plant in his hands to see if he could absorb its energy. But unfortunately, a normal quality herbal medicine plant did not provide him any energy. After packing up the herbs, Xu Ning clenched the hatchet and tried to remember his previous route. Xu Ning's current location was on the edge of Yunzi Mountains. There were often beasts roaming around, so he had to be careful at all times. Luckily, Xu Ning did not encounter any trouble on his return trip. After about half an hour, he came back to his village. This was the Dao village, where Xu Ning lived. Xu Ning was not born and raised in the Dao village. Instead, he and his older sister, Xu Lian, came here a few years ago. Xu Ning and his sister, Xu Lian, had previously lived in their own village, but a few years ago, a horse bandit attacked their village. The village was destroyed, and his relatives and neighbors were killed. Xu Lian took her younger brother, Xu Ning, and escaped. They had been homeless since then. The two of them roamed the streets and tried to survive before they were taken in by the Dao village. Sister Xu Lian had married Dao Yanchuan. Hence, Xu Ning also became a member of the Dao village. The sun was setting, and looking at it from a distance, the outline of the village began to look dim. The Dao village was surrounded by a stone wall. On the walls, there were clansmen holding weapons, patrolling back and forth. At first glance, this looked like an entrance to a small town. The Dao village was a large village with a population of more than 3,000 people. It was wealthy and influential in Canyon County. At the entrance of Dao village, Xu Ning hesitated. There were barriers Xu Ning had to cross to integrate into this new family since he was a transmigrator. But after hesitating for a while, Xu Ning still took a step forward. This was something he had to face sooner or later. Xu Ning entered the village. The Dao village was big and had a large population. But since he was an outsider, his predecessor had never been able to blend in here. Is this it? Xu Ning followed the path in his memory before he came to an ordinary courtyard. The courtyard door was closed. There was the sound of chopping wood coming from the courtyard. Xu Ning paused and opened the door. He saw a strong man holding an axe, chopping a block of wood. The movements of his hands were a bit stiff, so the chopping and slashing motions were uncoordinated. Xu Ning is back. After hearing the sound of the door opening, the strong man looked up, saw Xu Ning, and smiled. He put down the axe and walked over. Give the stuff to me, you go and rest. The strong man limped as he walked. In addition to his hands, he had leg problems as well. Xu Ning recognized this man as his brother-in-law, Dao Yanchuan. He was injured when he was young, causing his movements to be choppy. Ha! Xu Ning, are you hurt from falling? After walking over, Dao Yanchuan noticed that Xu Ning's clothes were torn in many places, as well as some surface wounds. I accidentally fell while picking herbs. Xu Ning was uncomfortable with Dao Yanchuan's show of concern. Are you okay? Dao Yanchuan asked.
I'm fine.
Xu Ning waved his hand. He was feeling fine. That's good, that's good. Dao Yanchuan seemed relieved. Xu Ning is injured. A young woman dressed in a linen dress walked out of the room. There was a sense of tension and concern in her tone. This young woman was Xu Lian, Xu Ning's sister. Xu Lian overheard Xu Ning and Dao Yanchuan while cooking and learned he was injured. Sis, it's only a few scratches. Xu Ning tried to stay calm. Xu Lian stepped closer to inspect him. After confirming the wounds were minor, she sighed in relief. Go change. Dinner's ready. Xu Ning returned to his room, still uneasy from the conversation. Outside, Dao Yanchuan sighed. It's my fault. Xu Ning is already old enough to marry, yet he still has to support this family. Xu Lian held his hand. If you hadn't married me, Xu Ning and I would have died on the streets. Things will get better. Inside the room, Xu Ning saw a girl with pigtails playing on his bed. Uncle. She was Dao Dao, Xu Lian, and Dao Yanchuan's daughter. Why did you come back so late? She asked. Then she noticed the bloodstains on his pants. Did your leg get hurt? She leaned down and blew gently on the wound. Does it still hurt? Xu Ning remembered how Xu Lian used to comfort Dao Dao the same way after she got injured. It doesn't hurt anymore. Before leaving, Dao Dao stuffed several green dates into his hands. I saved these for you. After she left, Xu Ning looked at the dates and smiled unconsciously. He bit into one. So sour. As darkness covered the sky, Xu Ning felt his distance from this world slowly fading. After changing clothes and applying ointment, Xu Ning joined the family for dinner. The meal was simple: vegetables, pickles, porridge, and one flatbread. Life here was poor. Dao Yunchuan's injuries limited his work, while Xu Lian earned little as a tailor. The entire family survived on about 10 taels a month. Xu Ning remembered the jasper grass worth 500 taels, the same treasure he had absorbed into the martial arts panel. Guilt rose in his chest. At dinner, Xu Lian divided the flatbread. giving larger portions to Xu Ning and Dao Yanchuan. After eating, Xu Ning returned to his room early. Lying in bed, he thought about the family's poverty. I need to make money. The strength gained from the martial arts panel had to become something useful. The next morning, Xu Ning woke late. Dao Yanchuan had already gone to the rice shop, and Xu Lian had left for tailoring work. Dao was still asleep. After eating leftover flatbread, Xu Ning sorted the herbs gathered from the mountains and carried them to the village medicine shop. Guo Yi. The dark-skinned young man greeted him warmly. Guo Yi was the outsider closest to Xu Ning. Unlike him, Guo Yi had married into a wealthy family and now managed a medicine shop for Dao Yangang. Xu Ning placed the herbs on the counter. 3 taels, Guo Yi said after weighing them. Xu Ning was surprised. These should only be worth half that. The price of heal all plants doubled, Guo Yi explained. 1 pound now sells for 6 taels. Xu Ning immediately remembered something. A month ago, his predecessor had discovered a large patch of heal all plants deep in the Yunzi Mountains. The area was dangerous, close to the inner region filled with beasts and poisonous creatures, so he never dared harvest them. But now things were different. His strength had improved, and the plants were worth far more than before. He could try going there. The price of heal all plants doubled, Guo Yi explained. A major buyer in Kangyan County is purchasing huge amounts, and pharmacies are nearly out of stock. Uncle has been traveling between villages collecting more. Xu Ning immediately thought about the patch of heal all plants deep in Yunzi Mountains. After taking the 3 taels of silver, he rushed home, grabbed a hatchet, packed his gear, and headed for the mountains. Yunzi Mountains was a vast, dangerous mountain range filled with beasts and rumors of demon creatures. Still, villagers risked entering because of the valuable resources hidden inside. Xu Ning moved carefully toward the location he remembered. Soon, he found the large patch of heal all plants growing on a steep hill near the boundary of the inner region. The plants covered the hillside. If I harvest all of this, it could weigh 50 pounds. At 6 taels per pound, the plants were worth nearly 300 taels. Before approaching, Xu Ning climbed a nearby tree and checked the surroundings for danger. Finding none, he hurried over and began harvesting. Within 15 minutes, his basket held over 20 pounds of heal all plants. Half the patch still remained, but Xu Ning decided to leave. The basket was already heavy enough to slow him down if danger appeared. He sealed the basket and turned to go. Then he heard footsteps. Xu Ning spun around with his hatchet drawn. 5 black wolves stood higher on the slope, staring at him. Xu Ning roared and startled them briefly before turning and running. The wolves immediately chased him. The steep terrain and heavy basket made escape impossible. Realizing he couldn't outrun them, Xu Ning climbed the nearest tree. The wolves circled below, jumping repeatedly but failing to reach him. Xu Ning considered his options. Running was impossible. Waiting might exhaust him. Fighting carried the risk of injury deep inside the mountains. Still, after hours passed and the wolves refused to leave, Xu Ning made his decision. At noon, when the wolves relaxed slightly, he jumped from the tree. Using the gale knife technique, he struck the largest wolf first. The blow shattered its spine. Before the others reacted, Xu Ning killed another wolf with a slash to the neck. 4 wolves remained. Xu Ning backed against the tree to avoid being surrounded. The wolves hesitated while their injured companions wailed nearby. Then one wolf stepped back. The others followed. Their instincts told them the prey was too dangerous. Soon, all 4 wolves retreated into the mountains. Xu Ning finally relaxed. The dead wolf's claws and fur could have sold for good money, but the smell of blood might attract stronger beasts from the inner region. The heal all plants were already worth far more. Xu Ning wiped the blood from his hatchet and quickly left for home. Xu Ning returned to Dao village at sunset and went straight to Guo Yi's medicine shop. Guo Yi. Guo Yi looked into the basket and froze. Heal all plants. This many. He checked them carefully. Freshly picked too. Xu Ning explained that he had found the patch earlier near the border between the inner and outer regions of Yunzi Mountains but only harvested it now because prices had risen. You really risked your life for money, Guo Yi said. After weighing the herbs, Guo Yi announced, 25 pounds. 6 taels per pound. That's 150 taels.
Guo Ning smilet.
This single trip earned more than a year of his family's income. Guo Yi brought out 2 silver notes worth 50 and 100 taels. You still have more? Guo Yi asked. I didn't finish harvesting them. I'll buy everything you bring, but be careful. After leaving the shop, Xu Ning felt relieved carrying real money for the first time. Since his sister and Dao Yanchuan had not returned yet, he stopped by the village butcher shop. I want 2 pounds of lamb leg. The meat cost half a tael of silver. Though expensive, Xu Ning paid without hesitation. Dao loved lamb because it was tender enough for her to chew easily. On his way home, Xu Ning passed the village training ground. Teenagers practiced spears and knives under instructors. Dao village valued martial arts heavily, which was one reason it held influence in Kangyan County. Anyone under 20 could train by paying 5 taels monthly. Xu Ning had only trained for 1 month before quitting because his family could not afford the cost. After learning the Gale Knife technique, he practiced alone. Now, with the martial arts panel, he no longer needed instructors. He only needed energy. When Xu Ning reached home, Dao Dao was chasing an old hen with wooden sticks. Petty thief, take my sword. Seeing Xu Ning carrying meat, Dao Dao's eyes widened. We are eating meat tonight. You can eat as much as you want. Xu Ning cleaned the lamb and prepared soup. Soon Xu Lian and Dao Yanchuan returned. They were shocked to see lamb soup and large pieces of meat on the table. Where did this come from? Xu Lian asked. Uncle bought it. Dao Dao answer et si tenli. Su Lian fra wen. You spent all your herb money on this. Let's eat first, Xu Ning said, glancing at Dao Dao. The family enjoyed a rare full meal. After Dao Dao left to play, Xu Lian questioned him again. Xu Ning placed 2 silver notes on the table. Xu Lian stared in disbelief at the 150 taels. Where did you get this much money? I sold heal all plants. I found 25 pounds in the mountains. Xu Ning hid the danger of the trip and only explained the profit. Xu Lian still doubted him. If you don't believe me, ask Guo Yi tomorrow. Though suspicious, Xu Lian finally smiled while holding the silver notes. 150 taels greatly eased the family's financial burden. It was enough for Xu Ning to marry in the future. Don't waste money like this again, Xu Lian warned. Dao Yanchuan pushed the silver notes toward Xu Ning. You earned this money. Keep it. Xu Ning refused. I live with you. I barely spend anything. Use it to improve the household. After a brief argument, Xu Lian took the 100 tael note and returned the 50 tael note to Xu Ning. She intended to save the larger amount for his future marriage. Xu Ning accepted. After he returned to his room, Xu Lian smiled. He's grown up. Dao Yanchuan nodded thoughtfully. Xu Ning should join the village martial arts training camp. In this world, martial arts are the path to success. Before, we couldn't afford it. Now we can. Xu Lian agreed. Dao Yanchuan decided to use 50 taels from their savings to enroll Xu Ning the next day. Xu Ning knew nothing about their plan. The next day, he returned to Yunza Mountains and harvested the remaining heal all plants. Though he encountered a beast, it retreated after a short standoff. He sold the herbs to Guo Yi for another 150 taels. You made 300 taels in 2 days, Guo Yi said enviously. Xu Ning asked whether Xu Lian had visited. She came this morning to confirm your story. I explained everything, so she relaxed. You didn't tell her there are more plants left, right?
No.
Satisfied, Xu Ning changed the subject. Does Uncle Yungang have spirit medicines? Xu Ning needed spirit medicines to gain more energy for the martial arts panel.
Guo Yi nodded.
Rarely, but yes. They're expensive. At least 200 taels. Xu Ning became interested. Guo Yi brought out 3 spirit medicines, star clover, spiky thorn, and swallowtail flower. When Xu Ning touched them, the martial arts panel appeared. Star clover, 3 energy units. Price, 400 taels. Spiky thorn, 2 energy units. Price, 230 taels. Swallowtail flower, 3 energy units. Price, 180 taels. Xu Ning immediately chose the swallowtail flower. Guo Yi looked confused. This medicine only helps people practicing internal arts. I have my reasons. Xu Ning paid with the silver notes and hurried home. Inside his room, he took out the swallowtail flower. Discovered energy, 3 units. Absorb. Yes or no? Yes. The flower withered instantly. Name, Xu Ning. Martial art, Gale Knife technique, elementary, plus. Available energy, 6 units. Xu Ning selected the plus sign. Consume 6 units of energy to level up the Gale Knife technique? Yes or no? Yes. A flood of understanding entered his mind. His mastery of the Gale Knife technique advanced from elementary to intermediate realm in seconds. Xu Ning felt that he could now defeat the 6 black wolves effortlessly without suffering injuries. Most martial artists needed 3 to 10 years to reach this level. He had done it in days. I need more energy. Xu Ning's eyes burned with excitement. It was night again. Dinner was leftover lamb soup from yesterday. Xu Ning stayed silent about picking heal all plants during the day. After eating, Xu Lian cleaned up while Dao Yanchuan said, From tomorrow, on odd days, you don't go to the mountains to gather medicine. Why? I paid 5 taels to the village so you can attend martial arts training. Xu Ning was confused. Training? He was already at the intermediate level of Gale Knife technique. Why would he need it? Seeing his hesitation, Dao Yanchuan thought he was worried about money. Don't worry. We have 100 taels saved. Use this chance to train properly. He added, Martial arts is the real path in life. When I was young, I met a beast in the mountains while collecting herbs. I escaped, but was crippled and never advanced in martial arts. You're still young, don't miss this chance. Xu Ning felt it was unnecessary. After a pause, he said, my knife technique is actually quite good. Dao Yanchuan shook his head and smiled. Stop lying. Last month you were frustrated over no progress. Now you are suddenly skilled? Do you think I'm easy to fool? Xu Ning was speechless. It's decided. I already paid. You go tomorrow. He stood, patted Xu Ning's shoulder, and left. Xu Ning finally agreed. He planned to attend, then later reveal his true strength to request solo training. Early next morning, before dawn, Xu Ning went to the clan training ground. The field was crowded. Over 200 youths split into groups of around 30, each led by an elder. Xu Ning learned his instructor would be Dao Yanmeng. He found his group and greeted others. Though an outsider, he wasn't excluded.
Puning.
He turned.
Guoye.
Guoyi was surprised. You're here too. My brother-in-law registered me. I only come occasionally. My uncle forces me. I'd rather work at the medicine shop, Guoyi said awkwardly. Before more talk, someone shouted, Uncle Meng is here. A strong man carrying 2 wooden boxes arrived. Dao Yanmeng, known for mastering the gale knife technique and having 4th level internal strength. He dropped the boxes. Take a knife. Line up. The youths obeyed and formed ranks. Steel knives were distributed. These are provided by the village, Xu Ning noted, since most families didn't own proper weapons. Dao Yanmeng checked attendance. Roll call. Names were called.
Puning.
Here. Good, only 3 absent. Begin training. Practice the usual routine. Immediately, dozens of youths began the gale knife technique, blades flashing. Dao Yanmeng paced, correcting them sharply. More force. Wrong stance. He even kicked those with poor form, while occasionally praising others like Dao Ji, who improved noticeably. Soon he reached Guoyi. Guoyi, what are you doing? Guoyi's movements were stiff. Dao Yanmeng frowned. Lazy.
No discipline.
Using your uncle's shop as excuse. You haven't even mastered basics. He kicked Guoyi lightly, sending him stumbling.
Guoye Stateland.
I don't know how Yangang tolerates you, he sneered. Then Dao Yanmeng shifted his gaze away, from Guoyi toward Xu Ning. Dao Yunmeng studi Su Ning Kalosi. Dao Yanchuan had already paid 5 taels for his training, and after the accountant's notice, Xu Ning's name was added to the list. According to records, Xu Ning had been practicing alone. Dao Yanmeng did not expect much. People like him, from poor backgrounds, were common in Dao village. Xu Ning noticed him but stayed calm, continuing his practice. His gale knife technique had reached the intermediate realm, so he felt no pressure. Dao Yanmeng stood beside him, observing. After a moment, his expression changed slightly. Xu Ning's movements were smooth, precise, and powerful, clearly better than most trainees. So his solo training isn't bad, Dao Yanmeng thought. The gale knife technique was an external skill. Without guidance, reaching even the elementary level usually took years. Xu Ning had done it alone, which was impressive. However, Dao Yanmeng still couldn't fully judge his exact level from routine practice. Maybe elementary, or higher. I'll test him later. He smiled slightly. Xu Ning, good. Thank you, Uncle Meng. Xu Ning remained composed and continued training. Guoyi leaned over in disbelief. You got praised. Xu Ning simply said, practice more. Guoyi fell silent, strangely motivated. Soon, the routine ended. Line up. Individual test next, Dao Yanmeng ordered. One by one, trainees entered the circle. Dao Yanmeng dominated each match, correcting or dismissing them easily. Guoyi was kicked out quickly. Basics first, Dao Yanmeng said coldly. Finally.
Puning.
Xu Ning stepped forward, saluted, and entered the circle. Dao Yanmeng looked forward to this. Xu Ning also wanted to test himself. The moment began.
Ku ning attacked instantly, fast sharp prekise.
Dao Yanmeng barely reacted in time. Too fast. He dodged narrowly. This isn't elementary, it's intermediate. Dao Yanmeng realized it immediately. Xu Ning pressed forward without pause, slashes like a storm, continuous and controlled. Dao Yanmeng switched to defending with gale knife technique, suppressing his internal strength. But he was slowly pushed back. The crowd was stunned. Is Uncle Meng losing ground? He's holding back, but still. Dao Ji's eyes narrowed. Intermediate realm. She knew because her father was also at that level. The pressure felt the same. Xu Ning's offense continued relentlessly, forcing Dao Yanmeng deeper into defense. Dao Yanmeng finally confirmed it. Intermediate realm, and possibly refined beyond mine. He tightened his grip, fully focused now. It wasn't just Dao Ji, almost everyone was stunned. Even if they couldn't clearly judge his realm, they could feel it. Xu Ning's gale knife technique was far beyond theirs. Xu Ning, however, was fully focused on Dao Yunmeng. The clash of blades echoed sharply in the air. A newcomer matching Uncle Meng, he's a genius. Dao Yunmeng suddenly realized something. If this continued, he would be forced to use internal strength just to avoid losing face. Bang! He struck Xu Ning's blade hard and stepped back. Enough. He smiled and sheathed his stance.
Intermédiate égale Kniff technique.
Not bad, Xu Ning. The crowd erupted. Intermediate realm. He's that strong already. Guoyi's face twitched. No wonder he picks herbs in the inner circle. He now understood everything. Xu Ning had been hiding real strength all along. The realization hit him hard. I need to train more. Xu Ning remained calm on the surface, but inside he was certain. His intermediate realm was stronger than Dao Yunmeng's. That difference came from years of gap, but the martial arts panel had erased it. Dao Yunmeng trained over a decade, and I surpassed him. He quietly acknowledged the terrifying advantage he held. Dao Yunmeng patted his shoulder. I thought you came here to learn. Turns out you came to test yourself. He chuckled. Go collect your reward later. You'll also get a refund. Reward?
Ku ning pause.
What reward? Dao Yunmeng explained. Anyone who passes the assessment at elementary level or above gets rewards, steel weapon, and even an internal skill. Xu Ning's eyes sharpened. Internal skill. That was what he lacked most. External techniques were only the surface. Internal skills were the foundation. He asked carefully, can outsiders receive it too? Dao Yunmeng laughed. Your brother-in-law is from the village. You're counted as Dao village too.
Ku ning nodded slowly.
I understand. Thank you. Dao Yunmeng waved it off. Go to the old clan church after dismissal. He then turned away, calling Guoyi to move the weapons. Guoyi complained but obeyed. Before leaving, Guoyi said, next time, teach me.
Alright, Ku ning replie.
Then he headed toward the old clan church. The old clan church was the Dao village's central authority, where elders handled all major decisions. 2 guards stood at the entrance. One stopped him. Here for the training reward. Yes. Go in. Inside, the hall was spacious and simple. 3 youths were already there. Xu Ning recognized 2. Dao Yi, the granddaughter of the clan head, sharp and imposing. Dao Qingfeng, a famous young talent known for the hurricane spear technique, barely 13 but already well known. The third was unfamiliar. They all looked at each other silently and nodded in acknowledgement. No one spoke. After a moment, a hearty laugh echoed outside. An old man with white hair and a strong presence walked in. Dao Jinglu's gaze shifted to the remaining 2. What about you 2? Any questions? Dao Yi lowered her head slightly, still thinking about what she had just learned. Dao Qingping hesitated, clearly intimidated by the presence of the clan elder. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, Xu Ning stepped forward half a pace. Uncle, I have a question. Dao Jinglu looked at him with mild interest. Go ahead. Xu Ning paused briefly, choosing his words carefully. If internal skills are widely obtainable outside the village, then why do most people still remain at a low level of strength? The hall quieted slightly. Even Dao Qingfeng glanced over. Dao Jinglu raised an eyebrow, then chuckled. Good question. He placed the booklet down. Because knowing a method and practicing it are 2 completely different things. He continued calmly. First, internal skills require time, resources, and guidance. Many people obtain them but cannot even understand the basics, let alone circulate energy properly. Second, without strong external skill foundations, the body cannot handle internal circulation. You'll injure yourself before you improve. Third, he glanced around the room, most people quit before they even begin suffering. The room went silent again. Dao Jinglu leaned back slightly. External skill builds the body. Internal skill builds the foundation of power. Without the first, the second collapses.
Ku ning nodded slowly.
But he wasn't fully satisfied yet. Dao Jinglu noticed his expression. You still have more. Xu Ning didn't hide it. Yes, uncle. Say it. Xu Ning asked directly. If someone has already mastered external skills to a high level, can they skip the normal path and advance internal skills faster? A faint silence followed.
Tao ye bilinket.
Dao Qingfeng frowned slightly. Dao Jinglu stared at Xu Ning for a moment longer than before. Then he smiled, not casually this time, but with genuine interest. Now that depends on the person. He stood up slightly and tapped the booklet. For ordinary people, no. But for geniuses. His eyes narrowed slightly. They don't follow the path. They break through it. The hall grew even quieter. Dao Jinglu turned his gaze directly to Xu Ning. You're asking this because you think you might be one of them, aren't you? The moment Xu Ning focused on the plus sign beside Spring Breeze tactic, the martial arts panel responded instantly. A faint ripple spread through his mind. Available energy, 0 units. The plus symbol dimmed. Nothing happened. Xu Ning frowned slightly. As expected. I still need energy. He wasn't surprised, but he was slightly disappointed. The spring breeze tactic sat quietly in the panel, novice level, unable to move forward. Xu Ning leaned back in thought. The martial arts panel clearly accepted new techniques immediately, even without mastery to a high realm. But advancement required energy. That meant one thing. Energy was the real bottleneck. Not talent. Not comprehension. Not even time. Just energy.
Ku ning exhaled slowly.
Then I need to find a way to gather it faster. His gaze shifted to the steel knife on the table. Then to the booklet again. And finally, he closed his eyes. Outside, the village was still active. But inside the room, Xu Ning's mind had already settled into calculation mode. The heal all plants. The training camp. The internal skill reward. Everything pointed toward one conclusion. Opportunities in this world weren't rare. They were just hidden behind strength. Xu Ning opened his eyes again. This time, his expression was calm. He didn't rush to test anything further. Instead, he closed the Spring Breeze tactic booklet and placed it carefully aside. Internal skill, external skill. He murmured softly. Both are just tools. Then his fingers lightly tapped the steel knife. The real question wasn't whether he could improve. It was how fast. Xu Ning stood up and stepped outside his room, already shifting his thoughts toward the next step, finding more ways to build strength and, more importantly, accumulate energy. Xu Ning paused for a moment. Escort the carriages. Guo Yi nodded quickly. Yeah. It's not a fixed job. Just a temporary escort run. My uncle said they're short on people this time. Xu Ning didn't answer immediately. His eyes narrowed slightly. An escort mission meant leaving the village boundary, and that meant real risk, but also real opportunity. Guo Yi added, it's not deep into danger zones. Just the main road to the city. You've got intermediate gale knife technique now, right? It should be easy. Xu Ning finally spoke. What's the pay? 2 taels of silver per trip, Guo Yi said. Plus you get meals on the road. And my uncle won't treat you badly. Xu Ning considered it. 2 taels wasn't much. But he needed energy. And energy came from movement, danger, and opportunity. The Yunza Mountains were one option, but escorted convoys meant guaranteed encounters without wasting time searching. More importantly, it was structured.
Prédictable danger.
That was better than wandering blindly. After a short silence, Xu Ning nodded. I'll go. Guo Yi immediately grinned. Good. I knew you wouldn't refuse. Xu Ning added calmly, but I'll still enter the mountains before that. I need to prepare. All right, Guo Yi said. I'll tell my uncle. Dao Dao, who had been listening nearby while half hiding behind the wall, suddenly poked her head out. Uncle is going out again. Xu Ning glanced at her. Yes. Dao Dao frowned deeply, thinking for a moment. Then she ran over and grabbed his sleeve. You can't go. Xu Ning raised an eyebrow. Why? Dao Dao said seriously, if you go out too much, you'll get hurt. Guo Yi almost laughed. Xu Ning crouched slightly and tapped her forehead lightly. Then I'll come back stronger. Dao Dao Belinket? Stronger than now. Yes. Dao Dao thought hard, then nodded reluctantly. Then you can go. She turned and ran off again like the matter was settled. Guo Yi shook his head. This kid really treats you like her real uncle. Xu Ning didn't respond. He simply looked toward the direction of the gate. His plan was already forming. Mountains first. Escort mission second. Internal skill after that. And the martial arts panel. That was the real foundation of everything. The bald man narrowed his eyes. Dao Yan Gang, inner enrichment third stage, intermediate gale knife technique. He spat lightly on the ground. Not easy to handle. The broken-armed man's eyes were cold, but their weakest point is the escort team behind him. He paused. That's where we strike. The bald man slowly grinned. Good. He raised his hand slightly. More than a dozen horse bandits shifted quietly among the trees. No noise, no panic, just practiced killing intent. The mountain wind blew through the forest, carrying a faint smell of dust and iron. Wait until they enter the next bend, the bald leader ordered. Block the front and rear. Don't let a single carriage escape. The broken-armed man's expression twisted slightly. That nephew. Guo Ye. Leave him to me. A flash of hatred passed through his eyes. I want him alive for a while. The bald man glanced at him, then nodded. Up to you. On the road below, the convoy continued forward, unaware. Guo Yi stretched lazily in the carriage. Finally past that dangerous stretch, he said with relief. I thought we'd definitely run into trouble. Xu Ning didn't respond immediately. His gaze stayed on the mountain ridge behind them. Something felt slightly off. Not danger he could clearly see, but a faint pressure in the air, like silence that was too clean. He narrowed his eyes. Too quiet. He shifted slightly, hand resting near the steel knife. Guo Yi noticed his expression. What? Still nervous. Xu Ning didn't answer. Instead, he said quietly, don't relax yet.
Guo Yi bilinket.
Ha! Before he could react, a sharp crack echoed from the mountainside. Birds exploded into the sky. Then, kill them. A roar tore through the valley. Shadows surged out from both sides of the road like collapsing cliffs. Horse bandits. Dozens of them. Guo Yi's face instantly went pale. What the? Xu Ning's eyes sharpened. The escort mission had only just begun. Inside the inn, the noise of the night market faded behind them. Xu Ning and Guo Yi returned to their room after storing their purchases. The others from the escort team were already asleep, drunk from alcohol and exhausted from the journey. Guo Yi stretched his arms and collapsed onto the bed. Finally, I can rest. Xu Ning placed the wooden hairpins and liquor carefully on the table. Then his expression slowly turned serious. Tomorrow we leave the city, he asked.
Yeah, Guo Yi replied lazily.
Goods are delivered in the morning, then we head back the same route. Xu Ning nodded slightly, but his mind was not on the return journey. It was on the mountains, on the horse bandits, on the broken-armed man's hatred, and on the bald leader watching from the shadows. Outside the inn, the city was still bright. Lanterns swayed in the wind. Vendors shouted. People laughed. Kangyan County did not sleep. But in a quiet alley not far from the inn, a man stood motionless. He watched the inn's windows with a calm, calculating gaze. Then he turned and disappeared into the crowd. Inside the room, Xu Ning sat cross-legged on the bed. The martial arts panel appeared before him. Name, Xu Ning. Martial arts. Spring breeze tactic, novice, plus.
Gal Kniff technique, intermédiate, plus.
Available energy, 0 units. His eyes lingered on the panel. He had no energy right now. But that would change soon. The escort mission was not over yet. And the return journey would be even more dangerous than the arrival. Xu Ning slowly closed his eyes. He began to rest, but his awareness remained sharp. Every sound in the inn. Every footstep outside. Every shift in wind through the window. He memorized it all. Meanwhile, outside the city, on a ridge overlooking the main road, the bald leader stood with his arms crossed. Beside him, the broken-armed man pointed toward Kangyan County. There inside. The bald man smiled faintly. Good. He turned his head slightly. Wait until they come out. His voice lowered. Once they leave the city, we finish everything on the return road. The broken-armed man's eyes burned with hatred. This time, none of them escape. The wind swept across the ridge, and in the darkness beyond the city lights, the trap had already been set. The moment Zan Sandow gave the order, the mountain road exploded into chaos. Kill them. Horse bandits surged forward from all sides like a collapsing wave. Dao Yungang didn't hesitate. Break out. He swung his machete first, not toward the enemy, but to open a path. Clang. A bandit's weapon was knocked aside as Dao Yungang forced a gap in the encirclement.
Xu Ning.
Go. His voice was sharp.
Xu Ning reacted instantly.
He grabbed Guo Yi and jumped off the carriage. Run up the slope. Dao Yungang shouted again. Guo Yi's face was pale, but he didn't resist. This way. The two sprinted toward the forested hillside. Behind them, steel clashed. Horses neighed. Men shouted. The escort formation had already collided with the bandits. Xu Ning moved fast, dragging Guo Yi through uneven ground. Branches scratched past them. The sound of battle behind them grew louder. Guo Yi gasped. We are really running? Don't stop, Xu Ning replied coldly. His hand was already on the steel knife. His senses were fully open. Every sound mattered. Every step mattered. Back at the road, Dao Yungang met Zan Sandow head-on. You really came prepared, Dao Yungang said through clenched teeth. Zan Sandow grinned. Prepared? No. I just came to kill you. Clang. Their weapons collided. The force pushed both men back half a step. Dao Yungang's expression darkened. Inner enrichment third stage, and stronger than before. Zan Sandow laughed. You should be glad I didn't come alone last time. Not far away, Guan Ingo raised his blade with one arm. His eyes locked onto Dao Yungang. This time, I'll take everything back. He charged. Clear a path for them. Dao Yungang roared. Dao Yunquan immediately moved, blocking two attackers with brutal efficiency. Get away from here. But the bandits kept pressing in. The road was turning into a slaughter zone. On the hillside, Xu Ning suddenly stopped. Guo Yi nearly collided with him. What? Why did we stop?
Guo Yi whispered urgently.
Xu Ning didn't answer immediately. His eyes narrowed. He felt it. A presence. Not far. Watching. Waiting. We are not alone, Xu Ning said quietly.
Guo ye froze.
Then, from the trees ahead, a slow clap echoed. Clap, clap, clap. A voice followed. Not bad. A man stepped out. Scarred face. Broken arm. Cold eyes full of hatred. Guan Ingo. He smiled. I told you before, he said softly, I would take your life next time. His gaze locked onto Xu Ning and Guo Yi. And you too chose the wrong escape route. Guo Yi's reaction was completely reasonable. Going back into a battlefield where even Dao Yungang was struggling was basically a suicide run for anyone at their level. But Xu Ning didn't move. He just looked toward the direction of the fight, expression steady. I'm not going back to fight Zan Sandao, he said. I know my limits.
Guo ye fro net harder.
Then what are you going back for? Xu Ning adjusted his grip on the steel knife. For energy. That single line made Guo Yi freeze. Xu Ning continued, voice low but firm. I just killed one internal skill martial artist. That means I can get stronger again. He glanced at the forest behind them, where the clash of weapons and faint shouts still echoed. If I leave now, Dao Yungang dies. If I go back, there's a chance he survives. Guo Yi shook his head immediately. A chance? That's gambling with your life. Xu Ning didn't deny it. He was already past the stage of pretending this world was safe. It's not gambling, he said. It's timing. He pointed at the direction of the valley. Zan Sandao is strong. But even strong people have limits. If he's fighting Dao Yungang, he's not at full attention. That's the only window we get. Guo Yi's hands tightened. You're insane. Xu Ning finally looked at him directly. Take the horse. Go. A short silence fell between them. Then Xu Ning added, almost casually, if I don't come back, tell my sister I didn't waste my life. That sentence hit harder than anything else. Guo Yi opened his mouth, but no words came out immediately. Because he understood something clearly now. Xu Ning wasn't acting brave. He was calculating risk, and choosing the only path that could actually change the outcome. Guo Yi finally exhaled. Don't die, he said quietly. Then he grabbed the horse's reins tightly. I'll go back and call reinforcements from the village. If you're still alive when I return, you better be standing there. Xu Ning gave a small nod.
No promises.
Just movement. He turned, and disappeared back into the forest. Every step he took toward the battlefield made the sound of clashing steel louder. His heart didn't slow down. But his mind did. 2 units of energy from 1 kill, he thought. If there are more. His eyes sharpened. Then this fight isn't over yet. Ahead, the valley opened again. And the real battlefield returned into view. Besides, how are you going to stay safe once you return there? Guo Yi worried about Dao Yungang but couldn't let Xu Ning die. He also trusted Dao Yungang's strength and worried more about Xu Ning's return. Don't worry, I won't fight them head-on. Xu Ning said, like before, as long as I don't move suddenly, they likely won't notice me. They tracked footprints earlier, and they won't expect me to return. But what will change if you go back? Guo Yi still tried to stop him. After a pause, Xu Ning said, these bandits aren't normal. You. They used to demand money from Uncle Gang, right? Yes, Guo Yi realized something. But this time they called his name. His old enemy is among them. So this isn't robbery, it's revenge. They want his life. They've studied his routine. This is targeted. Guo Yi's expression tightened. Uncle Gang gave me 50 taels. I should earn it. Xu Ning wasn't reckless. He intended to assist when possible and protect himself. If things went bad, he wouldn't die pointlessly. Guo Yi clenched his fists. Finally, he nodded. Go. Come back alive. Okay. Guo Yi rode off, knowing he'd be a burden. The sun burned overhead. The battle on the mountain road continued. Corpses lay scattered, mostly bandits, but also Dao villagers, fate unknown. Guan Ingo and others surrounded Dao Yunquan and a wounded villager. Dao Yungang fought Zan Sandao one-on-one. Their strength was close, but Zan Sandao had more experience. Dao Yungang, no wonder you took my brother's arm. I'll leave your body intact when I kill you. Zan Sandao pressed hard. Dao Yungang only defended. Unnoticed, Xu Ning moved along the mountain edge, carefully avoiding sight, reaching a tree less than 50 meters away. Bad situation, he thought. Dao Yunquan and others were falling. Defeat was near. Give up, Dao Yungang. Zan Sandao's blade clashed sharply as he forced him back. Dao Yungang thought, am I dying here? Suddenly, Dao Yunchuan's arm was severed, his scream echoing. Yunquan. Dao Yungang's focus slipped. Zan Sandao seized the opening, cutting Dao Yungang's left arm. Blood splashed. Dao Yungang retreated toward the tree where Xu Ning hid. They're coming. Xu Ning steadied his breath, fully focused. Zan Sandao struck again, wounding Dao Yungang's shoulder. He pushed him into desperation. Dao Yungang, forced to the tree, prepared for a final stand. Zan Sandao raised his blade. At that moment Xu Ning appeared, leaping with dual knives.
Pu Ning.
Dao Yungang was shocked. Who is it? Zan Sandao sensed danger too late. A blade pierced his waist. I was careless. He hadn't expected an ambush. Blood poured from his abdomen. You, he recognized Xu Ning, the escaping youth. How dare you? Xu Ning felt the resistance. His blade struggled against the inner enrichment warrior's body.
Di, Zan Sandao.
Dao Yungang surged with killing intent, stabbing forward. Xu Ning pressed again, deepening the wound. Zan Sandao staggered, begging for help, but Dao Yungang didn't hesitate. With a final strike, Zan Sandao's head fell. Boss! A horse bandit cried out after seeing Zan Sandao's death. The moment Dao Yungang beheaded him, panic spread instantly. Boss is dead. The bandits lost all will to fight and fled in terror. Zan Sandao had been their strongest fighter and their mental pillar. Now it collapsed. Boss is killed. Those surrounding Dao Yunquan also saw the scene. Fear replaced confidence. Run! Their formation broke immediately. Guan Ingo's expression twisted in rage. Dao Yungang. He had thought revenge was within reach, but everything had turned. Without Zan Sandao, he was no match. Run! He mounted his horse and fled. Dao Yungang noticed instantly. Guan Ingo. He grabbed a horse and chased. This is your doing, die! He caught up and struck. Guan Ingo, unable to dodge with one arm, fell heavily and screamed in pain. Dao Yungang dismounted and finished him without mercy. Yun Quan. With the bandits dead or fleeing, Dao Yungang rushed over. Dao Yunquan was severely injured, missing a hand, bleeding heavily, near unconscious. I'll get hemostatic medicine. Xu Ning rushed to the donkey carriage and brought supplies. Except for a few of us, the rest are gone. The surviving man reported the losses. He himself was lightly injured thanks to Dao Yunquan's protection. Dao Yungang collapsed to his knees. I am sorry. He stared at the dead companions, shaken and hollow.
Ku Ning stood silently.
Only now did the brutality of this world truly sink in. Life could be lost in moments. Uncle Gong. He placed a hand on Dao Yungang's shoulder but found no words. Dao Yunquan approached, injured but conscious. He looked at Xu Ning with respect, having seen his courage. Yungang, they chose this job knowing the risks. You treated us fairly. Don't blame yourself. Dao Yungang's eyes flickered with pain, but he nodded slowly. He then turned to Xu Ning. Thank you. Without your attack, we'd all be dead. Others looked at Xu Ning in shock. Though he lacked internal cultivation, he had risked his life to strike Zan Sandao. You're kind, Xu Ning replied. This was my job. You helped me before, I'm just repaying it. Dao Yungang was speechless for a moment. Where is Guo Yi? He returned to the village. Dao Yungang exhaled. Good kid, lucky to have you as a brother. They cleaned the battlefield and prepared the carriages. The group began the return journey with the wounded and the dead. 2 hours later, they met reinforcements led by Dao Yunmeng and Guo Yi. Uncle. Guo Yi rushed forward in relief. Dao Yunmeng confirmed they had come to rescue them after hearing the report. When they saw the bodies on the carriages, silence fell over everyone. No one spoke further as they returned to Dao village by sunset. Before parting, Dao Yungang said to Xu Ning, I'll thank you properly later. First, I must send them off. Take care, Uncle Gang. He left with the others for the funerals. Guo Yi only gave Xu Ning a silent nod before following. Xu Ning walked home alone. Only strength matters in this world. He had made his decision, enter the Yunza Mountains' inner regions to grow stronger. At his courtyard, he pushed the door open. I'm back.